Tucked away off a desolate highway in one of the most remote regions of New Mexico lies a series of lakes that are so isolated and unexplored that they make Area 51 look like a metroplex. Today, this secret location is about to be exposed as we continue our search for the perfect photograph. These are the salt lakes of central New Mexico. From your vehicle as you pass by on Highway 60 between Encino and Willard, the view is a barren one, as the only visible lake beds are the dry ones, harshly baked by the sun until all that is left are deep cracks in the dry mud. Highway 285 on the east side of the state and Interstate 25 in the center of New Mexico are two of the most popular routes if you're traveling north or south. Highway 60 connects those two routes, coming out of Encino, going through Willard and Mountain Air, before intersecting with I-25 near Belen. Willard is a tiny community about an hour southeast of Albuquerque, across the Manzano Mountains. You can find the lakes on Google Earth, allowing you to see how far north they extend. The highlighted box is the area where I hiked and photographed. I only hiked in about a mile, and once you get to the area of the lakes that contain water, the view changes dramatically. At first, the blue surface of the water nestled up against the classic southwestern bluffs creates what resembles a tropical island paradise. But don't be fooled, this is no paradise. Willard's history as a supplier of salt goes back over 100 years. Willard was established in 1902 and by 1908 had 3 motels, the first bank in Torrance County, and a newspaper. The Salt Lake, 7 miles to the east, was the only supply of salt in northern New Mexico until the 1900s. At the rest area overlooking the dry lakes is a historical marker with more information on Willard and the salt mines. On a hot summer day, the lakes appear inviting, an oasis in the desert providing hydration and a place to cool hot and tired feet. Rowing across the silver blue waters in a kayak while wildlife creeps down to the banks for a cool drink would make this a perfect spot for the summer getaway. But once you reach the beach, the sandy shore that leads to the water's edge, you realize this is not your typical summertime lake. The shore is thick and pasty, and you leave deep footprints as you walk across it. There are no animals anywhere to be seen, and that's because there's not much water either. The blue surface is more of a silk, and you can't help but think of quicksand while wondering how many cattle are buried beneath this subtle blue surface, sucked down by the inviting blue illusion. But it's a great place for photographs. The day I went, the temperature was in the low 50s, but the wind that swept across the salty plain made it feel much colder. As the sun dropped, the shadows grew longer and the warm tones of the evening contrasted nicely with the blue surface of the salty lake. But even with the contrast of colors, finding acceptable compositions was difficult because the shoreline was absolutely barren. Getting proper framing and perspective was going to be a challenge. It was the salt that provided the most help, compositionally speaking. The repeating pattern of the crystals and the way the light shimmered off them as the light angles grew steeper as sundown approached created a perfect scenario. I knew I had to move fast because that golden hour that photographers often talk about is not really an hour. It's more like 15 minutes, and then it's gone. Finding that perfect spot to photograph nature is almost like a game. Sometimes the best spots are very popular. That's why they turn them into national and state parks. But sometimes you have to get off the main path, go down a lonely highway, and hike into a world that is undiscovered and undisturbed. Finding the perfect photograph can be time-consuming and a lot of work, but us photographers wouldn't want it any other way.